Hello and welcome to Loki Studio. Today we're just going to cover some of the background or the features that are hidden because low key power is essentially designed to be a very clean interface. Not a lot of stuff here to deal with. It's all hidden in all the you just set your preferences and you're done, right? So essentially here we have the transcription tab, which we're going to cover today, and we have the model that we use. And basically the theory, the thing behind this is you're probably going to find a model that you like to use the most and just use it and not want to switch it back and forth all the time. That's why you don't see the model choice here. And it's very quick to jump back and forth because it remembers the tab that you're on, so you don't have to click on application settings and then you're here in directories and then you got to click on transcription, right? And you can download any model you want from here, and you can set its auto, CUDA, or CPU depending on how you want to run your models. Float 16, float 32. Generally, the defaults have been tested quite extensively, so they're pretty decent, right? Beam size around 7. I think it goes up to about 10. Yeah, it still goes up to 10. There was a little bit of research into having the beam size is kind of an arbitrary number. The higher the number, the more accurate the whisper model goes on transcriptions. But the whole thing is it's diminishing gains, right? So 10 was kind of like the maximum number. I may change this to maximum of 10 and then 1 as like the minimum. Right now 10 is it. Patience is kind of like how you want the model to be a little more accurate, so we go to 2. Or if you want a little more speed, you can go to 1. We have the compression threshold where we want to go into it gets a little more technical on this stuff. We want less filtering. It's more filtering of the background noises, which is one of the reasons why I created the transcription tab and the variant system or the edit tab to basically preserve all the audio tracks, to have a nice, perfectly clean audio track for transcription, and all the background chatter, especially if you're a video gamer, all the background chatter of the video game communications, talking, all that stuff, all that it makes a dirty audio track. So that's why I wanted that. And so the compression is not really that needed. I don't even this is just a whisper setting. I implemented, and I was just long forgot or cared what it was for, right? No speech threshold. This is just kind of how often you want, when there's silent gaps. Silent gaps are really dangerous for the whisper model because it starts hallucinating, and all of a sudden you see some weird you see some weird stuff. I can't even go into what it started hallucinating because it was comical, but it was wow, if I walked into a mental asylum, this is what I would hear. It was pretty bad. VAD. So this is actually a very important thing too, right? We have auto, so it chooses between energy, Silero, and 10. Energy is kind of as soon as it hears sound, it's okay, this has got to be voice, right? Silero and 10 kind of are a little competing technologies right now. They're the neural-based networks, or the neural-based. They're neural-based. So essentially, Silero it does something some insane amount of number of languages. I don't even remember the name. I don't even remember how many languages, but it understands languages, it understands whispering, it understands quietness, it understands different voices, it can differentiate the background voices. I mean, Silero is actually pretty cool technology. And then you have, I just implemented it. I don't know much. I don't know too much about it. How the behind the scenes, how it all works. But Silero is pretty damn good. 10 is a competing technology, a neural network stuff. and that also goes into, I don't have a model for 10 right now. That's why you're not seeing anything popping up. And then the VAD threshold, basically for, it's more aggressive on quiet spots, so it removes like chunks of silence, and then only the noise levels go up, and it does that, right? And then batch size, for like normal, like basically 24 chunks at a time, send off to the process. Then you got the intro thresholds and that. Then you have the translation model, which is basically, I like to choose the NLB 200, no language left behind. What that means is essentially, I know I'm jumping around a little bit. No language left behind means that you don't have to translate from like from Spanish to English to German, right? You go from Spanish to German or German to Spanish. You cut out English as the intermediary language, which a lot of translators in the past have. This is a Facebook technology, by the way. But a lot of languages in the past have used English as an intermediary to translate across. So what happens is it loses a lot of detail, or like, cultural nuances and cultural details in the translation to English, and then it loses even more translating from English to the final version of the language, or the final language that you want to translate to. So in skipping the basically the middleman, which is the English language, you cut the middleman out, you translate directly from one language to the other, and you preserve as much cultural nuances and information as possible in those languages. And so it's really great technology to have. It's actually it's pretty impressive, right? The 600 million is basically 600 million parameters, 1.3 billion parameters. The higher, the more parameters, the more accurate it gets, the better the model is, but also the more expensive on GPU it is. Generally, these will run on around 6 to 12 gigabytes of RAM, which most 30 series NVIDIA GPUs will already have. If you don't have an NVIDIA GPU, I apologize. I can only support that right now because I only have an NVIDIA GPU, and I can't afford to buy all the hardware out there to test on, because I'm one person. I'm not really a company. I'm just a person who's really passionate about making this stuff. And I made this to fix my own workflow, and I do have a gaming PC. So I have the NVIDIA 4090 card, and that's where literally this whole entire environment was designed around, was my personal workspace. As more people buy and grow, as the community grows, we're going to have more and more different hardware tests and everything, so we can start improving on non-NVIDIA hardware as well, non-CUDA capable GPUs. So that is the plan, right? As the company grows, as Loki Studio grows in the community and the company itself, we will start adding more support for all kinds of different things, Macintosh, Linux, all of that fun stuff. Once I can start getting an environment built to properly test everything. This is already covered like 8 minutes. This is actually way longer than I thought it would be. I thought this would be like a 4-minute video of like, hey, this is the settings. Boom, this is done, right? So anyways, click like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you, and bye.